right, everyone, welcome to another edition of Soccer Talk. I'm Greg, joined by Bo Williams, as always. Bo, it may be the international break, but
Yes.
the American soccer landscape is still
It continues on.
a buzz with some great action,
Yeah.
and this week was no different. Two pretty exciting games for one Knox, and a lot of other cool stuff happening
Yeah.
in the American soccer space.
So big news out of USL One. I mean, and we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later about an ownership group or an addition to a certain ownership group in the league. We'll touch on that for you. Big name getting involved. But yeah, for one Knox, I mean, you were there, first of all, heading down to Chattanooga, needed to at least pick up a point.
I was there,
part
indeed.
of the crowd.
Yeah, it's a fun trip to go to, honestly.
Yeah.
I would encourage anyone
It's a nice little stadium.
if you've got a free weekend to do so, even if they're not playing one Knox. Yeah, great stadium to go to. They've been adding on to it, little by little over the past couple of years. So yeah, this is the first game I've went to where they had indoor plumbing, so that was a big plus. So it's great to see the evolution of the first soccer-specific stadium in Tennessee, live and in person. It's very accessible right off the interstate, so you can just get up and
see
go.
It from 75. Yeah, but one thing we will always have: indoor plumbing.
Indeed.
Regal, and I'm sure they'll have when you go to the over at Covenant Park. They will be ready for you. So.
But yeah, it's a great atmosphere, and this we talk a lot about Lexington as in their rivalry with Knoxville, but you can kind of feel the intensity coming off of this one as well. Knoxville came in with a lot of fanfare after Chattanooga was one of the founding members of this league, so I thought the intensity really shone through in this match, and we got a pretty exciting one end to end.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun one to watch, and this is one of those where obviously one Knox looking to solidify the playoff spot, solidify a home field spot as well moving forward. Chattanooga just looking to stay in the game, to keep their name out there as far as a possible playoff spot with about 2 to 3 games to play depending on your schedule. So it was big for both teams, and like you said, especially with Lexington now packing up and moving on. The rivalry, now everybody's looking at Chattanooga, and that's always been, those two cities, we've always had a rivalry.
Absolutely.
In-state, I-75, hour plus, separates us, so it's always been a good rival. Doesn't matter what division we're talking, what league. I mean, whether it was the old Knoxville Force, and I can't think of the other Chattanooga, was it Chattanooga?
Chattanooga FC, I think, also came here at one point for Force.
It was always a good little rivalry as well, so there's always been that going on, so.
Absolutely, and we have, it almost is shaping up a little bit like a European race. We've got the race for the top 4 at the top, and then you've got this, 4 or 5 teams at the bottom, including Chattanooga, that are fighting to make that final playoff place.
That's quite a scramble, too. We'll show you the standings if you haven't checked them out here in a little bit. But yeah, quite a scramble to try to get that. Last 2 spots are still open, 7 and 8.
Exactly, and yes, coming off that 1-1 draw for Knoxville on Tuesday, to come back and play 4 or 5 days later, you saw a little bit of a rotated squad for this Knoxville team. You saw, Sean Lewis, who's leading League One in goals against average for goalkeepers. He was replaced by Johan Garibay, who had a pretty heroic performance.
An amazing save in this one. Really saved the game, literally.
Absolutely.
Preserved a point out of this thing. So he had a big one. And Shooty, we saw him up there as well. Zeracostas also up there up top. So, yeah, making some moves, but hey, you know what? It paid off. We didn't come away empty-handed.
Exactly, yeah. It was great to see, some of those starters did come on late, but we did see some impressive performances from some of those squad players, like a Jessen Vanderploem. I thought ever since he's come back as another option in that midfield, I just love the way that he's able to control the tempo in that midfield. He's got a great range of passing to find some of those wing backs that we talk so much about for this one Knoxville team. So it was really great to see, depth on full display for Knoxville after, a very grueling game on Tuesday against one of the better teams, Ford Madison. So yeah, got it going early here for one Knox, and Gio Calixto is another player that came in for this rotated side, and he was just terrorizing that right flank all night. You see Angelo Kelly combined here with him. I mean, this was just over and over again. He was just putting the left wing back on skates. A nice little give and go here, falls
beautiful.
to Calixto, and just grazes the top of the crossbar. It could have, really set the tone early for this one, but really was, a bit of a harbinger of things to come, because, Gio Calixto was just up and down that right flank like a menace all game long.
And I love watching this guy play. I get tired watching him play, because he's all over the place. He's up and down. He never stops. He's always around the ball, always helping to create opportunities. Great little give and go, as you saw there. Just wasn't able to put it away, but that's what he has been able to do. Whether he's the one taking the shot or playing that that pass, he's always creating opportunities. That is for sure.
It is interesting to see how they approach that right wing back position as they like enter the playoffs. You know, you kind of have a sliding scale of how attacking do you want the player in that position to be. You know, I would say the most defensive option is probably like a Sean O'Hearn, really solid one-on-one defender that has come in, you know, not only on that wing back side, but also in that, like, you know, center back three.
Yeah.
Then you have James Thomas, who has shown a really great ability to, you know, give good service from that right wing side, you know, really as more of a crosser as opposed to, you know, taking players one-on-one like Calixtro. Still a pretty good defender as well. And then Gio Calixtro, you know, he was signed as a forward, and then he's kind of been able to transition into this wing-back role. And, yeah, just his ability one-on-one is pretty unmatched on that right flank. So depending on how attacking they want to be, you know, I think if they do want to go for, you know, skew attacking, Gio Calixtro is that guy. So if, you know, a couple more good games, this could be a starter in the playoffs.
Yeah, it definitely could be, and it's great to see too. It just gives you one more option, right? And that's what you like to have heading into the postseason. Options for the coaching staff to look at, especially depending on who you're playing. You've got different ways you can attack. So I think that's definitely can play to their advantage. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So right before halftime, this is a pretty evenly matched first half, you know, even with that great chance for one Knoxville in the beginning, you know, both teams kind of showed their teeth in the attack. Here we see just before halftime, set piece delivery, a couple players go up for it, miss it all. It falls to Stuart Ritchie, who kind of gets caught under his feet, and it gets slid into Ropapa Mensah, who makes no mistake about it, and puts one Chattanooga up here right before halftime. Yeah. The light show going crazy there at CHI Memorial Stadium. How do you feel about, you know, this seems to be a trend that I've seen in more stadiums.
The lights and everything?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, hey, if the fans love it, then that's great. You know, I don't know. It doesn't bother me too. I take it back. If it's against my team, yeah, it bothers me.
Exactly.
You know, exactly. But a nice little feed here. Great focus by Mensah as well, playing that ball, keeping it on the ground too, going to that left corner. It was a nice finish. You know, really wasn't tightly marked right there in the middle of the box, but a tough one to give up, especially you know you're getting ready to walk in, you know, to the locker room, because that half is just about over.
Exactly, and this was on the back of really the first big save by Garibay right before this. So you're like, wow, we just dodged a bullet right before halftime. But then, sure enough, you know, they came right back at them. And, you know, a bit of unfortunate for, you know, kind of just got caught under Stuart Ritchie, and, you know, Pedro Hernandez swept in and scooped it up.
But, you know, we talked about this last week, too. I mean, you know, you look at what Knox, one goal for this one Knox team.
It goes a long way.
It doesn't, yeah. But at the same token, they never really seem to get discouraged. We've seen them go down in the past, right? And they somehow kind of seem to battle their way back, or they don't get too ruffled. But knowing that this is a rivalry game, there's a lot at stake. You had to think that maybe going in, was this what Chattanooga needed, right, to kind of fuel them in the second half, and how would one Knox react to that? And well, we've got some highlights we're going to show you, but yeah, it was a good finish for Chattanooga for what they were trying to get done there. But at the same token, if you're a one Knox fan, you're like, well, we've seen this before. We've been here before. We don't give up a lot of goals. So we just got to figure out a way to stick it in the other side, and we'll be okay in the other net.
Ropapa Mensah, you know, I think that was his 8th goal. I think he's 4th or 5th in the Golden Boot race. This is a player with great experience across the American soccer landscape. First player to ever score for Knoxville SC back in their USL Championship days. So, yeah, as a Nashville fan, hurts to see my guy, you know, stab me in the back here at the League One level. But it was Knoxville that had the last laugh on this one. Well, let's take it to the second half. And we talked a little bit about Inshuti. I thought this was really his best game for Knoxville. And he was just doing a lot of different stuff, whether that's hold-up play and getting a shot off. He can get a shot off from anywhere. And we saw it on full display here. You see Jessen Vanderploem move in. He kind of combines with Angelo Kelly, lays it off to Inshuti, and Inshuti just shoots on sight, and it almost uncorks a screamer, but just off the crossbar. What a way that would have been to score his first one Knoxville goal.
Yeah, just a hair lower, and that is a goal without question. I mean, that's one of those where he hits the bar. That thing can go in either direction, and he missed that one by a whisker. But great opportunity again, though. Several players got touches on that ball. Angelo Kelly, great job on the turn to turn it around to fight Inshuti. So again, great ball movement, and almost had that amazing finish there.
It is interesting how, you know, Kempis Tequila not in, you know, he came in as a second half substitute. So when he's not in, it seems like Angelo Kelly is the one that kind of has that free role to kind of move around and find those pockets of space, combine with different players. So it's interesting to see him in that role that you normally see Kempis Tequila in. And yeah.
Well, remember though, the offense though, a while back, I say a while back, it's not like we have a long history, but Angelo Kelly was the focus.
Especially early in this season, he bagged a couple goals early and often.
Exactly. So he, I'm sure he likes having that opportunity, and at the same token, we have seen what he has been able to do in the past. To kind of be that go-to guy, whether it's setting somebody up or just creating a chance and taking a shot. So, but yeah, great to see him out there involved like that, like you're saying, involved in the play. Actually, was a huge piece of that whole puzzle right there, creating that opportunity. But again, he's shooting just that close.
Man, unbelievable. And Chuti, I looked at. He's only played about 400 minutes for this one Knoxville team for international duty or injuries or one way or the other. But if you look at the shots per 90-minute average, he's right up there in the top of the league, and you saw that on full display here. He can pull up from anywhere, and it really is unfortunate that the way the schedule works out for this one Knoxville team.
Right.
He is now on international duty with Rwanda, coming up with some critical matches for his nation, but unfortunately, that means that Knoxville will be without him for this coming game against Central Valley Fuego, and then potentially in the playoffs if they do make it to that second round. So it is it's always difficult for players to, I think, come to America and acclimate in their first year. One of the more popular MLS podcasters, David Goss, has they call it the David Goss theorem, where when a player comes from overseas, you really want to wait until that second year when they really are fully comfortable. And know the team culture, are used to living in America. So this is something I would love to see for Nshuti. I would love to see Knoxville bring him back next year, because it really just seems like if he could get that one goal, they would just be flying in left and right.
Kind of open up the floodgates for him, because like I said, he's so close, and we've been seeing this throughout the season when he is able to get in there. He gets good looks, but again, just not able to put it away. So obviously, wish him the best. I mean, obviously, the opportunity to play for your country.
Second to none.
So many players don't even get that opportunity.
And yes, Rwanda is in a good position to potentially make history, only qualify for their second ever senior international tournament. So we're rooting for Nshuti and the entire Rwandan national team. Huge pair of games coming up against Benin on Friday and Tuesday. So that's going to be one to watch as this international break keeps going. Speaking of international players, Danny Fernandez, he loves scoring against Chattanooga, and we saw that once again here. You see Kingsford Ajay, he crosses over to the back post and ends up falling to DJ Benton. Keep an eye on him as this play develops. Sievert Hagley is able to spray it back out to that right flank, and Gio Clickstro once again beating his man one-on-one. He stands one up to the back post. DJ Benton leaps, heads that one down, and Danny Fernandez on the back post makes no mistake. His second goal of the season, his second goal against Chattanooga. How about the Matador celebration from the Spaniard there? And an incredible stoppage time goal for Knoxville.
Man, it was a great right foot finish too. I mean, had to time that one just right. It was a great strike. DJ Benton with the bouncer there, if you will. But again, it came in the nick of the time. Keep in mind, this was like, what, in the 93rd minute of the game? I mean, we were in it definitely extra time.
Yeah, I think 90 plus 3, 90 plus 4.
So it came just in the nick of time, and, hey, it doesn't matter if it comes early or late as long as you get it, right? But great finish there by Fernandez, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And
they weren't done yet. I mean,
not so fast.
We talked about Garibay a few moments before. He came up, literally, this saved the point, as far as I'm concerned, his save.
Absolutely. Wild sequence at the end of this game. Into the 10th minute of stoppage time here. Chattanooga has a couple of set pieces. Knoxville can't clear this one out. Ropapa heads it back in, and what a save here on that second shot here by Garibay. Standing on his head, truly. And he just did it again just a couple of minutes later. He is able to deflect that one and ends up getting cleared out by DJ Benton, and that was eventually all she wrote here. And you see really devastating for this Chattanooga side. No League One team has dropped more points from winning positions this year than Chattanooga, and
especially in a situation like that. I mean, that was point blank, basically. You're thinking you've got to be able to put that one away, but Garibay was in the right spot, great reaction, and +2 when you're Chattanooga, and you're thinking we're still 2 points out of the playoffs.
Right.
They could have used that full 3. Instead, they come away with a point. So for them, a draw feels more like a loss. For us, obviously, guarantees us now a postseason spot. You put the X next to the one Knox name, and you kind of come out of there. Anytime you can go on the road, especially if you can beat or tie your rival, it feels more like a victory.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially in the manner that you were able to do this one with a rotated starting 11.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I know Knoxville's feeling good about that one. They're now, 4 games unbeaten against this Chattanooga side. Haven't lost to them since 2023. So, yeah, let's take a look at those standings like Bo was saying. Finally get to see that beautiful X next to one Knoxville's name, clinching their first playoff spot in USL League One. First as a professional club since joining last year. And so, yeah, like we said, there's still a lot to play for at the top of the table. And as you look down towards the bottom here, big 2 points drop for Chattanooga. And as the last couple of teams fight for the 7th and 8th spots here.
Yeah, and you'll have to see. I mean, Chattanooga, they need to win out here to keep the pressure up. I think, even though as it stands right now, if everybody would lose ahead of them, if they win one, they would be in. But still, everybody's got a couple games to go, so they need to pull points from every game that they play. But for one Knox, this is great. I mean, yeah, if we'd picked up the win, an extra 2 points, we'd be sitting a little bit higher in the standings. That's how tight it is. But at least you go in now to these last few games knowing, what are we? We're 1 point out of 4th, 2 points out of 3rd.
Exactly.
So we got 3 games to go. You can finish really pretty much anywhere. Even you could really finish as high as 2nd if you get a little bit of help. But I think the key is right now, if you can finish 4 and up, it'd be great to have a playoff game here to help. Be able to take everybody over to Regal.
Absolutely, yeah. What a send-off that would be for Regal before they move into the new stadium next year. What a job that interim coach Ilya Illich has been able to do since he took over. I think it's 3 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss in the 8 games under Illich. So really hasn't missed a beat since they changed leadership. And now they've got that security of the clinched playoff spot. They can go into these last 3 games and just go for maximum points, try and get that home playoff spot, and anything could happen.
And it really is. I mean, when you look at the teams that have already qualified, I think just about any of these teams could come away with this thing, could win it all, including one Knox. I mean, you look at the depth, you look at especially one Knox. We were talking about Calixto. That's the different options they have at different positions, the depth that they have. But you look at Union Omaha and Ford Madison and these teams that are Greenville's had a great season. Charlotte was up there for a while. They've dropped a little bit, but they're still hanging around. This is going to be a fun playoff to see how this one pans out. But if you can get a home game, boy, that definitely helps. And now that's what I think. One Knox obviously focusing on. Let's at least get one at home if we can, and see where we can go from there.
Absolutely. So yeah, the first step in that race is going to be on Tuesday. Knoxville is going to host a last place Central Valley team who did just come off a big win, not only for the end of the playoff race, but for one Knoxville. They were able to eke out a 1-0 win against Spokane here to not only kickstart Central Valley's own playoff hopes, but now it just puts that 4-point gap between this one Knoxville team and Spokane and the rest of the table.
And it raises a lot of questions now. So what kind of team are we going to see on Tuesday coming in here? They're coming off a win. So they're riding high. Now, granted, they got to make that long trek across the country, so they got to tack on the 3 hours, right? So they got that working against them, but they got to be feeling good right now. And at the same token, we've got Spokane coming up in the last game. Spokane, especially after they've lost 3 in a row now, they may be fighting for their playoff lives by the time they get around to playing us. So it's really starting to set up some interesting matchups with a lot of different storylines heading into these last handful of games. And especially for one Knox, especially if we're still looking to try to hopefully move up as far as the postseason playoff bracket is concerned. We're going to need these games. So. Yeah, a lot of different storylines. I'm anxious to see how this one plays out.
Exactly. After that Fuego game, you're going to go on the road for the last 2 weekends of the year. You're going to go out to Madison, who is, trying to solidify their place in the top 3. And then, like you said, final day of the regular season, Knoxville's going to go over to Spokane for a team that's had an up and down year in their expansion year, but is still in this playoff mix. So, each opponent in these last 3 has everything to play for. So, it's going to be a explosive end to the USL League One season before the playoffs start in the beginning of November.
Yeah. So is the balance, which I love.
Great parity across the league.
Exactly. I mean, really from top to bottom. So again, this is going to be exciting to watch, see how the top 8 where we all fall as far as the postseason, and once we get into the postseason. You mentioned, Spokane, having a decent first year. We've got more news concerning, looking ahead to 2025 and beyond as far as some new friends we're going to have in USL One.
Exactly. It's been the year of expansion so far
Yep.
for League One. Already 6 teams announced for
Well,
next
the travel
year.
budget's going to go up.
Indeed, or hopefully down for some teams.
Well,
They
that's true.
might be able to
Maybe not as far. Yeah.
yeah, reduce their mileage a little bit. But we did see the announcement out of the League One front offices this week that Corpus Christi officially announced as the latest expansion team in USL League One. We're gonna have. This is a team that I think that is targeting a 2026 start, so we won't see them next year. We will see Texoma join as the first or the newest team from Texas in League One. We did have North Texas SC at the beginning of USL League One before they joined Next Pro.
I don't know if it's on this website. I don't know if you scroll down here. If you go down, there you go. That's what they're building in Corpus Christi. And from what I understand, they started working on this in 2023. It's supposed to be completed next year. But this is their new soccer facility that they're building there in the Corpus Christi area. So pretty impressive. I mean, they're all in. That is for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Nice 5,000 seat soccer-specific stadium in the works here, and then a couple of additional, youth and training pitches around this big complex. So yeah, it's a great investment for the game at that local area. The first independent professional team in the I think, what do they call it? Not Big Bend. Gulf Bend, I believe is what they call that region in Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Makes sense if you're looking at a map. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's great to see, another very deserving addition to League One.
I know you said they got the training pitches there. Well, they use this also for you. I know, years ago, my son had a tournament in Dallas, and we played in the shadows of FC Dallas's stadium there. It'd be interesting to see if that's Corpus Christi hosts a lot of youth events, at those training pitches of those extra fields, and see if they can kind of bring in the youth there to continue to build the the soccer hype in that area. But I'd always thought kids thought it was great.
Absolutely. And yeah, they've already had a great presence at League Two level, pre-professional with Corpus Christi FC. It's going to be interesting to see what the brand, I guess, looks like for Corpus Christi as we head towards 2026. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff happening with League One, and some even more surprising news.
I was going to say, get to it, because this is the one. When I saw this today, I was like, what? I had to do a double take. I mean, this is welcome Ronaldinho.
Exactly, Ronaldinho. Ever heard of him? Brazilian soccer legend. Just announced this week that he would be joining the ownership group for Greenville Triumph of League One, and also Greenville Liberty is pre-professional on the women's side. So yeah, you got to see Brazilian legend Ronaldinho not only just holding up the jersey, they were at the New York Stock Exchange ringing the bell, under the banner of League One. So I mean, this has got to be one of, if not the most high-profile personality associated with League One. And what a person to have to co-opt your league and your franchise.
Now refresh my memory on this one. So we're talking about Greenville, League One. Obviously, are they talking about moving up? Are they moving up?
I have not heard.
Is that now going to be the talk? Now that Ronaldinho is getting involved, can we maybe see Greenville trying to start making a move to the championship level?
It's possible.
And beyond, possibly.
I could see it. It's definitely we've seen a lot of upward mobility for a couple of League One franchises. I haven't heard that
I don't know what his involvement is
yet.
As far as ownership, as far as money coming in. That means that they're going to be if there's a move to the championship coming up. Obviously, they're in the shadows of Charlotte FC and MLS, but I don't know. When I saw him come on board, not that just staying in USL One wouldn't be great because it's a fantastic league, but I'm curious to see with him coming on board if there's some future plans there.
It's definitely possible. We have heard. I know this is a team that has wanted to build their own stadium.
Yeah.
They've been playing at
Furman.
Furman for a couple of years.
Which is horrible to watch on television. Nothing against Furman, beautiful university, but
yeah, great soccer program
field,
as well. So yeah, they have been talking about building their own facility. Whenever you do build your own facility, I think it's only natural to discuss maybe going up to that next level of League One.
And maybe that's where he's coming into play here, is to help solidify, a new home for that franchise there in the Greenville area. Like I said, there's nothing worse, and we saw that in the first couple of years of Major League Soccer, where everybody was playing on football fields. You couldn't distinguish the lines. Maybe that's part of this. Is maybe not so much moving up immediately, but maybe it's just kind of solidifying your home in the Greenville area.
Man, get him to suit up out there,
Well, that was the other question. I'm sure someone has asked him, said, do you think you can go a little bit? Yeah.
Come on, yeah. I'm sure he could give you 15 minutes as a sub, but yeah, man, it's all shaping up for USL League One. It really has been a watershed year for this league. We've got, now 7 confirmed expansion teams over the coming years or so, and that probably will not be the last. So if you've been keeping track at home, we've got AV Alta out in California, Naples in Florida coming in, Portland up in Maine, not Oregon.
No, but great logo.
Oh,
great
fantastic.
Got,
Santa Barbara is coming in, it'll be a great addition out in the West Coast. And Texoma, they're going to be, right on the border of North Texas and Oklahoma. They really tout themselves as the first team to represent 2 states. And then we got Westchester up in the suburbs of New York City. So a lot of cool markets coming into League One.
All the more reason to get your season tickets for next year. You're going to see some new teams, some new strips that'll be coming through. Also, Jägermeister expanding to the championship as well. So
exactly. We're still waiting for official word on that. That's kind of been openly discussed among league circles. But I mean,
gotta think it's coming.
Given that they already have, they did the Jägermeister Cup with 12 teams this year. Now you're going to have at least, 16 to 18 next year. So even if it doesn't happen next year, you're still going to have a very robust cup competition.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at all the new teams from the league play to the cup play, like I said, all the more reason to get involved and be a part of the next chapter over at Covenant Park. And I think it's going to be exciting the way One Knox is looking right now. Still, obviously, we have a lot of questions. Who's going to be running the show? But as far as out on the field, but hey, at this point, let's just focus on the here and now. But still looking ahead, some excitement there. So a lot of questions, but good questions.
Exactly. It's been a long season, but we're coming into a very exciting end before we enter 2025. And it's been awesome to see this league grow. Leaps and bounds in the years. Even before One Knox came in. So, a lot of exciting stuff happening.
Yeah. The passion from the fan bases from One Knox, Madison, they travel well, as we were talking about last week for Jägermeister Cup. They took a huge crowd.
Over to northern Colorado.
Yeah. And so a lot of these teams now, these fan bases, it's exciting stuff. And the fact that, as we've already mentioned, that so much parity in the league, it's definitely worth investing in and going and checking out a game. That's for sure.
Everything to play for. Like we said, Knoxville is going to be hosting Central Valley Fuego, their last regular season game at home on Tuesday. We'll break that down and everything else going on in the soccer landscape on Thursday of next week. So we will see you guys then.
See you.